Again,
Recording in progress.
All right. So there's lots of pieces and components to that may not be part of your local escort component. It might. Excuse me, my Simply Safe alarm keeps telling me it's off because I unplugged it. If you can hear that in the background. And then another piece, and this is an area where my background as a chief of police and really having to balance all of the needs that the community is asking and expecting of their police department, is the considerations around resources and capacities. And whether that's on Wreath Day or any particular event that you're having. And then the general information, again, talked about just the historical perspective and experience, what we've learned, what's helped, what hasn't helped, and brainstorming ways around getting officers involved. Just kind of creating those relationships and making the ask. One of my biggest philosophies in life is you can't say yes if I don't ask. And that line has got me lots of places with lots of yeses. So I'm going to stop there. I think I've covered the various points that are on this slide, and I can't see the chat box right now. I don't know if there's any questions that have come up. Or Julie, if you have something to segue, and I'm going to go shut my system off. Excuse me.
All right, thanks, Janine. And we're going to have a lot more information coming on how you guys can get involved. If you need to reach out with her and communicate with her later on.
I'm not seeing any questions in here, but we'll make sure when we send this out that everyone has the contact information. If you have questions, Janine, you're comfortable with people reaching out to you directly.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing, is that what I want to do as well is start reaching out to some of you proactively. And in the sense that there are some states and some communities that I have stronger contacts with currently. So I've acquired a copy of the master list of participating locations, and I kind of really started looking at the region up here in New England to see which communities I already have police department contacts with, and will be touching base through your regional coordinator to you, the coordinator, to find out what that relationship is, if you want one, if you want a stronger one, if you've made some asks that didn't go well, anything in that regards. And certainly to learn from you too, because if something's working in your community that's gonna help me help another community, or me help the convoy, I wanna be very mindful that every one of your events is just as important to our veterans and to our Gold Star families, our Blue Star families, in our country, in your local community, as the big event in Arlington National Cemetery. And I want to give that proper respect and not minimize it. So I'm trying to find, this is the first time I'm publicly speaking around this, so I want to find some terminology that doesn't always seem like that convoy dwarfs everything else. But I do think that as a team, we work much better together.
Yeah.
And I will be within the next, definitely, by the end of August, we'll be between now and August, we're reaching out to quite a few of you, and I am always available. You can drop me an email or a phone call or text. Just title it WAA, and I will know that it's somebody reaching out and see what I can do to help.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. And we will have in the follow-up email that goes out, we will make sure we share her contact information, as well as the slides from this PowerPoint, so that you guys will be able to follow along. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect regarding the delivery of your wreaths and flags for this year. So the ceremonial wreaths are going to be shipped with any sponsored wreaths that you have for your location. However, the flags for the ceremonial wreaths will be mailed to the home address we have on file for you. And those are typically shipped out in early November. If you don't receive your flags by like December 6th, you should always contact your regional liaison, and we will email you a couple times as we get closer to remind you, like, hey, don't forget, if you haven't got your flags, contact us, and we'll also send out one letting you know that they have been mailed out. So don't worry about trying to remember that date, because we'll bug you about it. If you have specific,
Oh. I think Julie froze again.
remember, we're working with your truck drivers as well as working with can you hear me?
Yeah, you froze and then you sped up. So maybe repeat that whole.
Okay. All right, so ceremonial wreaths, they're going to be shipped with any sponsored wreaths for your location. However, the flags for your ceremonial wreaths will be mailed to the home address that we have on file for you. And those are typically shipped out in early November. Just remember that if you don't receive those by December 6th, you want to reach out to your regional liaison. If you have specific delivery accommodations, we will do our best to meet them, but please remember we're working with volunteer truck drivers as well as working with over 2,500 locations. So some special accommodations could include things like needing your wreaths delivered in a specific time window. Say if they're being delivered to a business and they close at a certain time, that the cemetery's gates are going to be locked. These are things you want to let us know. Like I said, we are going to do our best to try to accommodate those. We cannot always guarantee them. We may say, hey, we can't meet that time window. We need to try to come up with a different game plan. But just the sooner you let us know of these special accommodations that you need, the sooner we can try to get them in the works to make sure that we can accommodate them. If you have special accommodations that you need, just make sure you reach out to your regional liaison to make that request. If you're looking to escort your truck into town, you again want to make sure you inform your regional liaison so that we can make note of that for the driver so that they can know what to expect and to also make sure they contact you in plenty of time before going into town. If you want to escort of the wreaths into the cemetery on National Wreaths Across America Day, you may need to have a plan to store your wreaths off-site and have a local company bring them in on Wreath Day in case your driver has other stops to deliver to. We have a lot of some of our larger cemeteries that get several truckloads of wreaths that do a big convoy in on the day that they place the wreaths. And usually what they do, they store them off-site and then they get, either it's even just trucks and with trailers, some local companies that have box trucks, stuff like that, to bring them in the day of. And don't forget that Janine is a great resource when it comes to escort planning and wreath day events and that for that. I apologize, guys. I am up in Maine and these allergies, the pollen is killing me and my allergies are just not having a good time. So bear with me.
Julie, pause. I'll let you take a breath and cup of water here. So I'll add to that to keep in mind as well that some of our larger cemeteries, like I don't know, I didn't see on here, but Judy Carlisle, it's Fort Sam Houston, Randy Lure, who is with Bushnell down in Florida. A lot of these larger locations have been doing wreath convoys into their cemetery for a long time. So you can always reach out to other, your regional liaison, and maybe they can connect you with one of our SWAT members or somebody who has had a convoy before, because that is something you're definitely going to want to communicate with your local law enforcement about. And you can't just assume that the wreaths are going to show up on this day and you're going to have an escort, because a lot of these trucks, to Julie's point, all of our trucks who are delivering wreaths are doing so in a volunteer capacity. And many of them have multiple stops and they're on a deadline to get wreaths to the next location to finish their load. So it's important that that's all communicated, even though I appreciate when people want to do that and they want to make a big deal about their wreaths arriving, which is awesome. And we definitely encourage that. So if you need ideas for that, your liaisons might be a great resource for that, as well as the communication team. We've seen a whole gamut of different fun things to do for your wreath delivery.
Yep, absolutely. Sorry, I'm waiting for my computer to catch up with my internet here. All right, so some more information about delivery of the wreaths, where some specific information about how your wreaths are being shipped will be shared with you after the cutoff date when logistics can be finalized. We know everyone is always eager to get details on the delivery of their wreaths, but please be patient with us as we can't provide any final information until after the cutoff. The wreath numbers are constantly changing throughout the cutoff, so we're not able to finalize the shipping and logistics for any location until at least the first week of December. Now, we do know that some locations, they are covered earlier on. So, you guys might call us and say, hey, our cemetery is already covered. Can't you tell us how our wreaths are being delivered? But if your cemetery is being delivered on a truck that is also has other stops that they have to take, it's continually moving, because if one location overgrows, we have to maybe move this load to this truck to make room for it. So, it's constantly moving as long as the number of wreaths are moving. So, just try to be patient with us. And again, if you have special accommodations, just let your liaisons know. Wreaths are typically delivered during the week leading up to National Wreaths Across America Day. So that's kind of the timeline that you're looking and planning on, storing those wreaths. They can be delivered earlier, but we will let you know so you kind of know what to expect. But that is the normal time frame, is that week leading up. The Wreaths Across America office will notify you through email when your wreaths have shipped. We will provide you with a box count and give you information on how to track your wreaths, like if they're coming on a truck or if they're coming, FedEx or UPS. They are also shipped in a box, 9 to a box. The boxes are roughly 2 feet square and weigh about 36 pounds. If you have a lot, it's a great idea to have a team in place so you guys can offload them by just passing them along. So you're not doing a lot of back and forth. If your wreaths are shipped by FedEx or UPS, you will be sent a tracking number. We will email those out to you. And a signature is not required at the time of delivery for those. So you don't have to be there to receive the package. Just keep in mind that when you provide us with your small pack delivery address, it should be somewhere the box can be left unattended. So if you live in an area, or if you're having them go to a cemetery that someone's not always there and you don't want them just left there, then that should not be the address that you provide us with, because we're not going to know that. And once they have shipped, we can't change the address because there's lots of fees associated with that. If your wreaths are being delivered by a tractor trailer, the trucking company will contact you to set up the delivery arrangements at least 24 hours prior to delivery. Any of you that have been around for a while, you know that these are volunteer truck drivers. And while we say that they are supposed to contact you 24 hours prior, some are much better at it than others. Some will call you days ahead and start scheduling stuff. Some will call, 2 to 4 hours ahead of time. We do continue to educate them every year. And, I think that over the years, there's been a lot of improvement because many of them are doing this repeated time. So they're learning more, like, okay, no, I need to notify these people well in advance. So just keep in mind, if you don't hear from them, if it's getting close, don't wait till, Friday at 5 o'clock and call your liaison to say, hey, I haven't heard anything. If you haven't heard anything, Wednesday, Thursday before the National Wreaths Across America Day, it's a good idea to reach out to your liaison to say, hey, I haven't heard anything. Do you know what's going on? So that we can just follow up and figure out what's going on with that.
Julie, can I jump in and just a couple things? I just want to remind everybody too, wreaths are a perishable product. Okay. They are it's live balsam. There is possibility that, especially in some of the hotter climates, if a wreath sits in a box for too long in the sun, it could, crisp up a little bit. If it's in a box for too long, meaning like in a trailer box for too long, it could crisp up a little bit. You just have to remember that our wreaths through Wreaths Across America are guaranteed. If you get wreaths that come that are not in great shape, take a picture of it and send it to your regional liaison. We will replace those wreaths in timely manner. We might not be able to get them to you for wreath day, but we will get them to you. And one of your questions, I think Cookie asked, was about the box is being crushed. And, again, we do everything we can. We're dealing with volunteers at docks. We have loading docks across the country that help us with distribution. And unfortunately, these boxes are being touched by humans and they're getting put in. And sometimes if they're not packed properly, they might shift around and crush. We are certainly aware of those problems and working to address them with all of our partners as best we can, keeping in mind that in almost all cases, it's volunteer basis. So just keeping that mindset when your wreaths come, I guarantee you, we can fluff them up and those bows can get fluffed up. And if you have a severe problem, you can certainly let your liaison know. We prefer you let us know first and let Wreaths Across America fix that problem before posting about it on social media or going out publicly about it, because we certainly, those wreaths are guaranteed and we'll get that fixed for you. So just be conscientious of that.
Thank you. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about making sure that your 18-wheeler address is actually accessible to an 18-wheeler. So some things to look at to know if your address is 18-wheeler accessible is height clearance. So the tractor trailer will need at least 13.6 feet of clearance when it comes to any overhead obstacles. This includes gates leading into cemeteries, bridges, tree branches, phone wires, and anything that may be low hanging in the way. We definitely don't want to cause any damage to the trucks, and we don't want to cause any damage to any cemeteries or where they're being delivered. And if an 18-wheeler gets there and the address is not acceptable, they could refuse the to deliver the race, or you're going to have to scramble to find a place offsite because they're not going to be able to get it in there. Some other things to look for is narrow roads. Tractors are 10 feet wide and a trailer is 8.5 feet wide. You should make sure that the truck can navigate the roads into your cemetery or whatever address it is that you've chosen prior to arrival. You can also plan to offload away from the site if the roads are too narrow. We often have a lot of people that meet a driver at a larger parking lot like Home Depot, Walmart, somewhere like that, where they can have trucks and trailers waiting and they just offload the wreaths onto there and then take them to their storage place that way. Each professional driver has a different experience level, so just consult with them to make any of your final unloading decisions. If once you are in contact with them and if you're unsure, just go ahead and raise that question with them, because they're going to have a better idea to be able to say like, yes, no, I can bring it there, or no, like let's plan to meet, somewhere else to do this delivery. Turning. So a tractor trailer needs approximately 144 by 106 feet to turn around. You will need to make sure your delivery location has a space for a truck to maneuver and turn around if needed. This means no dead end streets and no cul-de-sacs. They're not going to be able to get turned around there. Backing up. A trailer needs a 42-foot wide driveway in order to back in from the road safely. For residential deliveries, it's not always an option because the carrier's insurance may not allow for that. You may see moving trucks in your neighborhood from time to time, but most trucking companies are not able to go into those residential areas because they don't carry the same type of insurance that a moving company would have, because that's obviously their job to go into those residential areas. If you are expecting a large number of wreaths, you should definitely consider another site other than your home for delivering. That's just kind of the best way to kind of plan and avoid any issues with them not being able to get in for those deliveries. Another thing to consider is the driver's experience. So some professional drivers are more comfortable and experienced than others. Some are rural drivers while others are city drivers. And even though a driver you may have gotten into your residence or the cemetery in the past, that does not mean that every driver is going to be able to do so. So just be respectful of the driver and their abilities if they have a concern about the delivery address. So we don't want you to say, well, the driver last year was able to get in here. If the driver says they're not comfortable, making that turn or whatever it is, we just want to make sure that we're respectful of that. Our goal is always to make sure that, it's a safe delivery for every professional driver to avoid any damages or delays to any of your wreaths. So when should we contact our liaison? We often have people notify us of issues after National Wreaths Across America Day has passed. Sometimes it's well into next year. And the reasoning is that, you guys don't want to be a bother to us because you know that we're busy. And while we really appreciate that, we appreciate you understanding that, that we're busy, but please don't ever hesitate to notify us of an issue. Because in fact, oftentimes the issue can be addressed and taken care of much quicker the sooner we know. Kind of like how Amber was speaking earlier, if you have wreaths that are damaged, you want to contact your liaison immediately, because oftentimes we can get you replacement wreaths. And if you wait until well after, we aren't going to be able to get those sent to you. We'll obviously still make it right with a credit, whatever we need to, but the sooner we're aware of the issue, the sooner we can help you deal with it. So some things that should be a red flag and an indicator for you to contact your liaison right away is if you log into your dashboard and you see an address or grade counts that are not correct. You can go ahead and update that information, but we recommend following up with your liaison just to confirm. Keep in mind, those changes can only be made up until November 15th. Another red flag is if your box count is wrong at the time of delivery. You should always count your boxes. And you guys should have all got a little counter clicker that we sent to help make sure everyone is counting their boxes. So you always want to count your boxes at the time of arrival and notify your regional liaison immediately if there's a discrepancy. If you can call while the driver is still there, we can sometimes find a solution while they're still there. But please do not ever just take more boxes than without speaking to your regional liaison, because that may actually cause a shortage down the road with someone else. It's also a red flag if you have not received your ceremonial flags by December 6th, which we talked about earlier as well. You should contact your liaison right away if you have not received them by that date, and we will send out emails later on letting you know that they've shipped and when you should expect them, and a reminder of that deadline of when to notify us by. And then of course, just, anytime you have questions, we're always here. We're happy to answer them. When in doubt, just give us a call and we'll talk through any concerns that you may have.
Can I jump into, Julia? One of the questions I've been, Denise raised something really important because she's a new group leader. And just to clarify for everybody on the call, a lot of all the logistics pieces that we're talking about in the delivery of wreaths, that is for location coordinators to manage. The only time that a group leader is involved in that is if the group leader happens to also be the location coordinator. If you are a group leader only and you're fundraising for a location, it is your responsibility to just communicate with the location coordinator for your cemetery so that they know how many wreaths that they'll know from their reporting, but it's important that they still know that you're making the effort and what you have coming in terms of funds. As far as the management of the wreath delivery and the location of address, all that is for a location coordinator to coordinate. That's their role with Wreaths Across America. So just to clarify, if there's anyone on the call that's new to Wreaths Across America who might be completely confused by thinking that they have to now manage wreath delivery, that is for location coordinators only. So just wanted to state that in case there's a lot of new faces on here tonight, Julie. So I want to make sure that everyone understands that.
Yes, thank you for that. And, as a group leader, if you guys are, want to be involved with helping unloading the wreaths, it's a good reminder to just reach out to your location coordinator for your cemetery and ask them how you can be involved with that. A lot of times it does require a lot of hands to unload those trucks, get the wreaths staged and all that. So if you think that your group could be a help there, go ahead and reach out. If you don't know who that is, contact your regional liaison and we can put you in contact with your location coordinator. All right, so I know you have all been eagerly awaiting the latest update on the website, and we certainly appreciate your patience with this. Wreaths Across America is committed to delivering a website and tools to our volunteers and supporters that will increase the efficiency and improve the online experience for all who are using the website. We have realized we have more work to do before releasing this new site to the world. So in the interim, we will continue to work with our technology partners to address any bugs on our current system and optimize it the best we can while we continue to work with it through season. I just lost my spot there. The current system is fully functional and we are confident it'll work well through the season. So if you've been holding off on updating your pages, this is a great time to log in and make those necessary updates. In the follow-up email to this webinar, we will include a website refresher that kind of reminds you of where to go in, how to customize your pages, where to pull those reports. And if you have any questions, again, just reach out to your liaisons. We're happy to walk you through those. We're happy to help you make any changes. If you're having any difficulties with the system, we're happy to do that for you so you don't have to, mess with that. We do appreciate your understanding and flexibility and look forward to sharing more details about when you can and what to expect from that new site to come.
So in the interim, everyone, we do know that there are certain things that need to be addressed on the current site, and we are going to go ahead and make those updates now so that everyone can have the most optimized option available through the end of the year. For the most part, our site and our system is pretty well utilized by our groups and locations. So at this point, we feel like it's best that people continue to use what they know until we have the opportunity to really dig deep and train everybody. And we're just getting too late in the season to really do that for everybody fairly so that you all are in a good place. So we feel like this is the best way. But honestly, I think that if you're new to the program, either a new group leader or a new location coordinator, I think people will be pretty impressed with what our system can do now. It's pretty customizable, and our liaisons are like crazy fast, and they can do things that I don't know how to do, and it's pretty impressive what they're capable of. So definitely reach out to your liaison, and we'll make sure that we have something working for you through season.
Absolutely. And that's all I have. So now we're just going to open it up to any questions. I'm going to take a peek at the chat, see what we have there. But if anyone has a question, they can go ahead and just speak up and we can answer them.
So yes, Becky, you can go ahead. Becky is asking if we should start adding pictures to the pages now. Absolutely. Please go ahead and start making updates and customizing your pages as best you can. I really actually encourage people, if you haven't gone onto your pages yet and your dashboard, the more customized your pages with pictures from your community and details about your community events, the better that they are going to do. So it's just fact. The ones that are really engaged on those pages do really well. So definitely. So group leaders, yes, group leaders have dashboards and their fundraising pages, as do location coordinators.
Yeah. We did have someone who asked, they wanted to know like what was considered a lot of wreaths because they're new. They have about 1,000 headstones. So that would be about 111 boxes. So for the most part, you can plan on that coming on a truck. And I definitely think, if you have some volunteers on hand to help offload those 111 boxes, it would be a little bit easier than, having just 2 people out there doing that.
Unless of course you have kids and then you can get them to offload the boxes.
Yeah. I was just going to say the Boy Scout troops work out really, really well.
Yeah,
That's a great idea, Harry. And a lot of folks do it. Civil Air Patrol groups, squadrons, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. It's a great project for kids to do. They're not overly heavy. They're lighter than a box of kitty litter. Promise.
Yeah. And Denise just asked if the group leaders have a dashboard. So yes, everyone, group leader, location coordinators, you all have a dashboard where you can go in, you have registration to do's, you can customize those pages. So like Amber was saying, we really encourage you to customize your pages because it makes it more personalized here. If you can add pictures of, your local group, if it's a Boy Scout group and you can add pictures of them placing the wreaths on the headstones or, maybe at a fundraising event, it just kind of shows the community that's going to go to that page what you're doing. We're going to send out a refresher on how to use those pages, how to get in that dashboard and access it on the follow-up email for this. But if still have questions beyond that, just reach out to your regional liaison and we can walk you through that.
Yeah, we might try. Our goal is to try and get some of the kind of the bugs that need to get fixed, taken care of in the next month. And maybe Julie, we can try and do some of that updated in the next webinar, maybe in August.
Yep.
Kind of the how-to would be a good use of that.
Wow, we're gonna cross back to dashboard.
All right, any other questions? I did see someone said that their dashboard was down. If your dashboard's down, it's probably something with where you're connected. Like Megan said in the chat, just make sure you reach out to your regional liaison and we'll get you connected back the way that you need to. And no, the order process has not changed. Online, everything is the same as it's been through last season. The only thing we're going to be doing this year is just making some glitches and stuff that were not working. Like many of you may know that the search feature for locations and groups is not really pulling up things the way that it's supposed to. That's going to be fixed. But the order process will still be the same as last year. So if you guys have any printed handouts that you've given out with people with the steps, you don't have to worry about changing that this year. You can just keep it the same and go ahead and hand those out. And for those wanting to know how they get access to their dashboard, you should have received an email, but the follow-up email from this webinar will have instructions of the link of where to go to access that. And you'll be able to just log in. And again, if you can't log in from there, you would contact your liaison and we'll get you taken care of. And I think I got through all the questions in chat. So does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, this is Rosie Farron calling from Guam.
Mhm.
And I'm so excited because this is our first time that we're going to have the reef across America. So I see that there's a lot of things I have to do and get more information about getting live plants coming in or flowers, because we're restricted on certain things here. But I will be getting more information on it as soon as by tomorrow, because it's, well, today, because we're still in the daytime.
Yeah.
Daylight. So I am just so excited. I can't even I can't even begin how exciting I am.
Yeah, but we're very glad to have you on board. We're excited to expand to Guam, and we're working on already talking with some carriers that can go there. And most of those carriers, they do that run normally. So they're going to be familiar with some of the restrictions as far as bringing in live products and stuff. So we'll work together. If you have any questions, let us know. We can put you in touch with our logistics team to make sure we have all of our, T's crossed and I's dotted on that.
Julie?
Okay. Thank you. I'll just wait for that excitement.
Yes. Well, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Hey, Julie?
Mhm.
Okay, this is Lucy from Guam. Hi, Miss Farron. So we'll be coordinating all that with you. And I'm pretty sure Tanya Eubanks will be contacting you. She's
right.
our coordinator on this end. So we'll take care of
Okay.
that.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. And then in terms of dealing with getting the reefs in, we also have the director, Jim Uggan, working with the different carriers. So Trish, who has been really helpful, will be coordinating with her and letting her know. I've already sent her a couple of questions just as a follow-up, but we'll take care of you.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up then, give everyone a few minutes back to their evening. And I'm going to go and look, I got the wrong date on there. Apologize for that. We're just going to go back so you guys don't see that. And I hope you guys all have a great evening. Thanks for joining us. And again, we'll send out a follow-up email, and this will be uploaded to YouTube within a couple days. And if you have any questions, just reach out to your liaison and we'll get you taken care of.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
See you next week, Harry.
Oh, yes, I will. I will see you next week. Looking forward to it.
Sing us out, Harry.
What do you want?
Good night, sweetheart.
Oh, dear, you're killing me here. Hold on.
I gotta go.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do, 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 do. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do, 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 do. I hate to leave you, but I really must say good night, sweetheart. Good night.
Thanks, Harry.
Yay. All right, I'm ending it for everyone. Good night.
I'll be here all week.